Hi, my name is Stephanie, and a number of years ago, I had a miscarriage. And what happened to me was my husband and I had suffered through infertility treatments and were told we would have no chance at all, 1 in a million chance, as a matter of fact, of conceiving a child naturally. We would have to go through in vitro. Well, God blessed us with a miracle. And then the next thing I knew, I was at a doctor's appointment and was told I was no longer pregnant.
You know, Stephanie, I had a similar experience. We tried for 3 years to get pregnant, and it was just so joyful when I finally realized that I was pregnant, and I just had so many hopes and dreams and plans for this baby, and that I had prayed for so long. And 2 months into the pregnancy, I went in for a routine ultrasound and was told that the baby had died.
Well, when I was in the doctor's office, the first thing that he said to me is that I spontaneously aborted the child. And that broke my heart, because what I felt like was that I did it. It was my fault. Those were the emotions that were going through my mind at that time. I wondered, what did I do? How did I cause this to happen? What in my life made me take an action that cost me the life of my child? It was unbearable at the time. I was consumed with grief, and I didn't know how to go home and say to my husband, we're not gonna have a baby. I struggled on the car ride home. I was completely silent. I actually couldn't even bring myself to say, hon, we're not gonna have our child. I wanted to know, why did this happen? I needed those answers. I needed concrete instances so that if I got pregnant again, it would not happen to me again. I couldn't bear it. I began to ask the doctors questions. I began to ask friends questions. I asked anybody who would listen to me, why would this happen to me? I got a number of answers. Some of them were comforting, most of them weren't. So I began to bear all of this into my heart and become a different person that I didn't want to be. But eventually, trusting in God fully made me aware that I had to rely on His love. I had to rely on the plan that He had for me. I'm still here. He has a future plan just for me. I learned that I had strength supplied by Him and Him alone to get through this that I didn't know that I had.
Throughout my whole experience with a miscarriage, that's the one thing that I had to do. I had to trust God through it. Every miscarriage is different. Every person going through it has a different experience. When I found out that the baby died, I was in the ultrasound room. They sent me right to the doctor's office that I'd never met, and I sat there for over 4 hours waiting to see the doctor, wondering, why is this happening? And through this time, it's so devastating, and I think one of the things was that I realized is you have to grieve, and the grieving process is different for every person. But for me, I noticed that everybody went on with their life. And to them, it was an announcement that I told them that the baby had died. But for me, I had to grieve. And it was a process. It wasn't 1 week or 2 weeks. I lost a baby. I lost hopes and dreams that I had for this baby. And I just kind of wanted to scream sometimes and go, don't you care? My baby died. And you know, and through that I had to trust in God, and God gave me a scripture, and it's Psalm 94:19. And it says that in the multitude of anxieties that are within me, His comforts delight your soul. And I had to remind myself that God's comfort would delight my soul, even in the midst of all the sorrow and the pain, that if I gave it to Him, that He would comfort my soul. You know, I had to remind myself to look for God in the situation, to look for where God was comforting me and strengthening me. And every moment, God was with me, even when I didn't realize it. He was with me when we got to this doctor's office, that I didn't even know who they were or what kind of practice it was. And just all along the way, through family and friends, even though some people didn't know what to say, there were people who did know what to say, where they just listened to me, or they just comforted or prayed or held my hand. And so as you're going through this, look for God. Look for the comfort that He wants to give you and the strength that He wants to pour into you. And let Him give you that strength and see His hand even through this situation in your life.